Evergreen marketing may not be what you think. I want to demystify the concept of evergreen marketing and help you to see that actually there can be multiple ways that you can get the benefits of evergreen, but that can also be connected and a right fit for you. If you think about evergreen marketing, what comes to mind for you? Probably most people will think of it as this 24/7 constantly on machine that just works around and round and round like clockwork, right? But actually, there are multiple different ways that you can still have and use evergreen marketing inside of your online business to have the benefits of the consistency, but you can actually cater it for yourself. So I'm going to be talking today about what those differences can be, and maybe you might just discover that there's a nice kind of hybrid method or something that you can actually make that's more aligned with how you like to do things, and make sure that you can actually start to tweak and change up your own marketing method and create a bit of a system that can be evergreen in your own right. So in case we're meeting for the first time, my name is Jenny Stevens, and I help coach and train other online business owners, course creators, coaches, consultants, service-based businesses to help you to simplify, streamline, and leverage your business and your time so that you can create the business that you love around the lifestyle that you actually want, making it easier and helping you to smile every day and feel confident knowing that your business is doing what you want, doing the things that you love, and you're not being chained to your business. And every single episode I create, I love to just pour my heart and all of my knowledge and skills and experience, mistakes I've made into these episodes. And I also like to equip you with a fab resource and something that I think is really going to help you with this topic. So be sure to subscribe, follow along, and check around this episode for resources at the end so you can make sure you can pick up everything that you need. So let's talk about evergreen marketing. As I mentioned, most people think about evergreen as this constant 24/7, always on machine that's completely automated and it just runs in the background. And for some, that absolutely is what they want. But I want to help kind of demystify actually what evergreen means. And maybe there's a change and a shift that you can make in your own marketing and create your own kind of sales system that can be evergreen, but perhaps it's not just that method of the 24/7 may not be the right fit for you, or maybe it is. I'm here to kind of help give you the options so that you can actually make a choice and decide what's right for you and make sure that you can have the consistency that goes with it too, and streamline everything along the way. Now, there are 1,000,001 different ways that you can market and sell your products and services, right? As an online business, you're being taught so many different things. And at the end of the day, they all work. There is something for everybody. Now, the things that I have learned over the last 8, nearly 9 years is that it's all about finding what's right for you. We are all individual as people. Our businesses are different, unique. We have different strengths. We have different preferences, styles for doing things. What's something that I love to do might be like, no, I don't want to do that for you, and vice versa. There might be things that you do and I'm just like, no way, that's just not right for me. So it's about having the menu, if you like, laid out to go, right, what options have I got? How can I make it simple, streamlined as possible so you can leverage your time and make sure it works, but it feels good as well to bring you the results that you want? What does evergreen really mean? The official definition is, I'm reading this from Dr. Google, it says it's retaining freshness or interest, or also it can be universally and continually relevant, but not limited in applicability to a particular event or date. So this really, in a nutshell, this can be something that you can repeat, and it can be something that runs on a cycle, and you can choose if it is for a date or not. But it's something that can stay continually relevant, right? Obviously, if you're doing something that's Christmas related or some kind of holiday, that's not evergreen because it's very specific to that individual date. Whereas evergreen means it can be something that can be a bit more fluid and flexible. And that's really the beauty of having evergreen marketing as part of your strategy. So although most people think about evergreen as this kind of continuous non-stop cycle, evergreen can also represent a customized cycle for you that aligns with your unique business approach. And say, especially over the last few years, I've really discovered that the more we lean into our own individual style, preferences, natural strengths, things that we actually enjoy, not only does marketing and selling your products and services feel much easier, much more enjoyable, you're much more likely to actually freaking do it and not procrastinate and resist. But also, it can then have an effect on your actual results. You become more magnetic. Your passion will be able to seep through because you are in alignment, and that really can affect so much in your business. And obviously we could talk about this all day. It's a whole other episode. But really, when you do things in a way that feels good and you can also do it without exhausting yourself and burning out, then you're absolutely right for you. So I found personally that kind of that live launch cycle, it's pretty exhausting. There are times when it's needed. Obviously, if you're creating something brand new, you have to launch everything at least once. And then it can be built up to then become more evergreen, but you at least have to create it once. But this kind of live cycle, I find exhausting. But every time I do it, because I love creating new products and new courses and things like that, every single time I look at how can I systemize it more, how can I streamline it more. But just having the knowledge of how can I take either the live launching or the evergreen, how can I make my own hybrid? And this is what I love teaching my clients with now and my audience, is how can you create your own method that can be right for you, that's brings you that consistency as well, which takes a load off, right? And it can just give you confidence knowing that your business is continually growing and you are having that regular revenue coming in and those regular sales. So you're not in this sort of constant feast or famine kind of anxious mode. So let's talk about some of the different evergreen cycles that you can actually use. Okay, so these are things that you can choose from that can have your revenue coming in consistently. So I'm just going to start off with the one that most people think about. We have the kind of all year round open cycles of your course, your program, something that's always available. People can buy on a passive or semi-passive format, right? So this is something where we probably all see it. You maybe might see a Facebook ad, and then maybe you're going to watch a pre-recorded or a automated webinar perhaps, and then you can go and join and enroll in a course or a program, or even book a call with somebody and then they might close you if it's a higher ticket thing. But it's all kind of automated. That's kind of one thing where it's always open. Another one is you could have a sort of semi-annual cycle. So perhaps you have a course that you want to focus on doing live rounds each time. And so maybe you're going to open and close the cart and the doors to that maybe twice a year. So this is kind of more on the live launch side of things. But obviously, once you've created it once, then it can become this more evergreen cycle. But your cycle is maybe twice a year, and that's fine. So it frees you up to be able to deliver that great service, go through that process with people live. But your process is repeatable. You can use and reuse a lot of the content that you do every single time and create a great process for yourself that you and perhaps any team members can go through. But the cool thing is that you get to then maintain some of its freshness, right, each cycle. But it is an evergreen cycle because you kind of can package up everything that you're doing and repeat it maybe twice a year. Then another option is maybe you have monthly live webinars. So if you love that kind of live connection, you feed off the energy of people on something like a live webinar, or it might be a challenge or whatever you like to do. But perhaps your course or your program is pre-created, or you've already run it at least live once, and it's basically all now packaged up, ready to go, that people can now go through. But you really want to keep doing that live element. So how can you have the best of both worlds? So this evergreen cycle for you might be that you have, perhaps it could be a monthly live webinar that you do, or maybe it's every other month. To be honest, it could be a 30, 60 or a 90-day cycle that you run this live webinar, totally up to you. And then obviously on that webinar, you then can sell your course or your group program, or it might be a one-to-one or whatever it is that you're selling inside of your online business. And so again, you get to reuse the content. So everything for your webinar is all packaged up. You've got that process, and it's just a case of constantly having new traffic coming in to opt in. They want to register, they want to join your live webinar. You show up, run it again. And again, you can constantly be testing and tweaking and refining and really getting that whole process working really well. But again, it's on an evergreen cycle. So you can see just from these few examples, you can have the beauty of connecting with people live with something like a live webinar, but the rest of it can be automated. Or it might be that if you're more introverted and hands-off, you want to focus on just delivering a great service to your customers and your clients, and you want everything to be open all the time, you can do that too. So you can have really the best of both worlds. You can kind of have a mix and match option to see, how does this fit in with me? What's the stuff that actually I really like to do? And rather than just what somebody is saying, this one particular way is the way that works, because they all work in their own right mind. And the reason why we have so many great people teaching that specific strategy is because it's worked for them. I love teaching stuff that works for me, but now I love to give a lot more of a holistic approach and give people their options and help them create the path that's right for them, that also really looks at streamlining things, keeping things simple, and that you can get that consistency with, because it takes away so much of that fear and anxiousness and just doubt, right? When you know that things can be working. So I want to give you a couple of examples now about some different types of businesses and just what things can happen when you can make that shift from leaning into more about your strengths, what your preferences are, what you love to do, the energy that you can get, right? So we have case study number one, which is Jane. So Jane shifted from being on that 24/7 constant automated machine, 24/7 cycle, to a semi-annual cycle. So Jane is a course creator, and she decided to shift to doing a twice yearly cycle. She realized that she got so much energy from doing live webinars and actually running a live cohort with a great group of people for her program, for her course, that she could really then lean into giving that connection that she loves to get. And also she knew that that could be a great experience for her customers. She missed the connection when it was on that automated cycle. So she switched from evergreen to this semi-annual cycle instead. And so here's some things that could change for somebody like Jane. She now created some urgency inside of her launches. The part of her that just loved that live connection, she was more excited when she was running it. The passion came through more because she did it live. And that led to a 20% increase in her conversion rates. Another thing was that because she focused on live interactions, it helped her because she loved those connections. It actually deepened the connection with her clients. So she had enhanced engagement. She then reduced burnout because she found time for herself by planning in breaks in her launches. So she was able to bring back more joy into her work. She also found it was more flexible and adaptable. So because she could make timely updates to it, it kept the content fresh and relevant, and she could test different ways to improve those launches and also her delivery. And then she had renewed confidence because she had this new model. It really energized her, aligned with her vision, and it was a much better fit for her style and her strengths by incorporating those live elements. But she knew that she had this system and this process that she could repeat as often as she wanted. And even if she wanted to change it to 3 times a year or 4 times a year, she could do that easily. Then another one is we have Emily, who actually transitioned from launches to evergreen. So Emily was an online business coach, and she transitioned from that continuous launch thing that she was just finding exhausting to an evergreen 90-day cycle instead. So this increased her revenue by 40% within the first year because she had more continuous exposure to her offers throughout the year, and she was able to get that traffic and that system working really well for her, that it gave her that kind of increase. It then improved her marketing efficiency. She actually reduced her advertising cost by 25% because she really got to dial that in and test a lot of things and optimizing it, making her marketing a lot more effective. And she was able to really test and optimize the whole process. She also had enhanced work-life balance because she actually then gained more time for her personal life without sacrificing growth, because she wasn't spending so much time creating so much content and always having to be on that she felt she had to. And so she had a huge boost in confidence because she now felt empowered. Emily knew that by allowing her to have this space, she could explore new opportunities, she could focus on delivering a great service to her clients, and knowing that her revenue was on a more consistent cycle for her. So these are just a couple of examples of different cycles that you can choose from, each with their own pros and cons. There are pros and cons to evergreen or live launching, and again, there's no right way of doing things. It really is about aligning it with your personality, your business model, and what you find is right for you, and also giving it long enough so you can test what's right for you and gather some real data. So there are a few pros and cons, and I want to share some of those with you. Some of the pros, obviously you've got the consistency, right? Steady income and engagement. Efficiency. So it reduces the need for that continuous new content creation, which so many people can find exhausting. It has flexibility, so you can tailor it for so many different business models. And it's great for long-term growth. So you've really got the potential for that stability and an expansion to help you scale. Now, some of the cons of evergreen marketing is you do have the slight risk of potential stagnation. So you have a bit of a risk of it becoming outdated if you don't keep it fresh and updated. There is some competition, right? So having some sort of challenges in you standing out and showcasing why you and your course or your program is the right solution for your audience. And it takes upfront investment, right? So if you're going from kind of doing a live launch once and then you want to turn it into evergreen, it will take time to get all of the pieces created, getting everything set up, the automation, testing it, optimizing it. It might take time, and it will take time to perhaps go from something that's working well live to getting it on that consistent growth trajectory that you want, to eventually give you the freedom that you want. It might take time, and that's okay. Everything has its place. So you just know that there is that kind of initial time and effort investment really from yourself to get all of the pieces set up, but it can be absolutely worth it for the long term if that's your goal. So really, it's about finding the evergreen system that's right for you. As I say, you can have these hybrids. You can have this mix and match style, depending on what you want to do for your business. So evergreen doesn't just have this one meaning. So I want to ask you something. How might you be able to create an evergreen cycle that's right for you? What feels like, even just from some of the examples that I've talked about today, what parts and what pieces feel like they might be a good fit for you? And that's obviously a little sign that perhaps you might need to make a tweak to your own marketing and your own sales strategy for your online business. Whether you kind of really want more hands-off, you want more passive, that 24/7 cycle, or you want more of a flexible and adaptive approach, whatever it is, evergreen marketing your way can be the solution. And it really the power lies in the ability to align with you, with your goals, with your audience, and what works for you. And so if you're not quite sure how you can create this evergreen system or what's right for you and all of the pieces that come up with it, from the traffic to the lead generation to nurturing people and converting people, what this looks like for you, then I would love to be able to invite you to my masterclass that I'm going to be running. So it is going to be running live certain times. Other times you might watch this later down the road and it might potentially be a recording of what I've done. But I would love to be able to share with you the entire leverage marketing system that I have created and I use in my business. So you can see how you can take all 8 pieces of this framework and customize each one of those stages to you and your business that can be in that evergreen cycle that suits you. So check around this video or this episode for you can find more information about it. Pop in your information, completely free masterclass. And I would love to be able to show you how you can take this concept and basically fill in all of the gaps that you might have and show you how you can create more consistency, create more freedom, and doing it in a way that's totally aligned for you. So let's break out of these molds. Let's stop doing this cookie cutter approach and let's help you find the marketing match that's right for you, all in that aligned, consistent, and leveraged way. We can actually start enjoying marketing more. We can do the things that we love to do and have that smile on your face every day, knowing that you've got a system that is perfect for you. So I'd love for you to share with me in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube or on my blog, leave me a comment, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, come over to Instagram or on my blog and you can leave me a comment. What kind of takeaways or ahas have you got from this? Have you thought, oh, actually, there might be a different way from something that I've mentioned just from this video alone and this episode alone that you might make a tweak? I would love to hear what you prefer. Are you more of a live launcher or are you more continuous, automated 24/7 machine? I would love to hear from you. And make sure that you subscribe so you can get more tips and trainings from me about streamlining your business more, making your marketing more consistent, and helping you have the business that you love. And I share even more inside of my weekly emails that I send to my subscribers. So I will put a link and a resource around so you can come and join that email list where I share more about my own experiences. I share my client stories. I give you great tools that you can use to streamline things. I'm such a techie tool person. I love it. Come and join that community where I can share more with you. If you think anyone from your network, your friends in the business space who are also running an online business, if you think they'll find it useful, do share the love. I'm always so appreciative of any shares that people do with any of the content that I give, because I love pouring everything that I learn into helping even just one person each day. I am happy. So go and register for that masterclass. You can find all the details. There will be some information. There'll be a link around this episode. We can go and find out more and you can learn more about what I do and how I might be able to help you. So go and register now for that webinar. I look forward to seeing you there and I hope you found this useful.